I'm Kylie Bickle and I'm the lead designer on the project. The landscape was very much a large part of the inspiration for ultimately the shapes and the forms of these objects that were being created. It was really important for me to use beautiful imagery and iconic photographs of the landscape, so I understood quite clearly the nature of the landscape, its forms, its colours, the moods, the weather patterns, the drama of the landscape, and to fully appreciate that in order to create a form or a structure that would actually sit comfortably within that landscape and complement that landscape. So it was important for me to arrive at a shape that had a simplicity and a softness to it in its form. At the same time, it's got to be a robust, strong, functional object, a piece of furniture that people must use, on a day-to-day basis. For me, there was a simplicity and a subtlety about the shapes that I was trying to create that would nestle and merge with the landscapes, but at the same time be striking enough to be considered a unique built feature in the landscape as well. The way these sites are often represented within Indigenous artwork has a certain style or form to it. It's one of those things that led me quite early on to a very circular and a round form. The locations for these sites are scattered throughout the Pilbara region, and in many cases they do correspond to areas that the Indigenous peoples traditionally would have used as meeting places. Often these are places of water, water holes, shade or food opportunities. Understanding that those sites had a significance culturally, and also that translates to a contemporary understanding of those places. These are regions now where universally tourists move through these areas and are coming to these places as visitors. These are meeting places. The combination of those two ideas became articulated for me in the idea of shade pools. To take the idea of a place that offers coolness or relief or calmness in this environment was something that I wanted to translate into the shelters. A place to relax and congregate. That idea really did become the phrase that I used to sort of describe the shelters as areas of shade pools. It was always intended that there be opportunities integrated within the build for the layers, graphic layers and artwork layers that would be provided through workshops with Indigenous artists from the region. The laser cutting of those patterns and those artworks create a whole other layer of experience to these shade pools. During the daytime, the sun shining through these laser cut patterns will cast beautiful patterns all over the ground plane, effectively extending the footprint of the shelters to a much larger circle. So it's really enhancing the experience of a visitor to that location. At night time, those patterns are illuminated with LED lights, and so standing underneath that shelter, those beautiful patterns are highlighted to create really quite a magical effect in the landscape, with what I can imagine would be a beautiful starry night sky behind it. So that layer to me adds not only a cultural richness to the design and a very immediate connection to the people who live in those regions, but it really does enhance the experience of using these shelters beyond what you would normally expect coming into a tourist rest stop area.